Okay, hi. Today we are going to talk about variables. So you're going to need your journal and you're going to write these down, and tomorrow we're going to have more of them. I'm trying to move this down a little bit closer. Sorry. There we go. Okay, so what is a variable? Well, a variable, you can use a variable in an equation to represent the unknown of what you need to find out. So a lot of times you see, if you see something like 3 plus question mark equals 20. This right here you can consider a variable. It's an unknown. It's something that you don't really know what the number is, but you could use your strategies to figure it out. You could say, okay, I could take my fact family. I know 3 plus this number will get me 20. And I know that the mystery number plus 3 will get me 20. So now I know that 20 minus 3 will get me the mystery number. And you can get your answer this way. Well, just like the question mark, a variable is a letter that is used to replace the unknown. Okay, so a letter that is used to replace an unknown part of an equation. Question mark's really easy, but what if I did something like 3 plus x equals 20? Would that scare you? It shouldn't, because it's the same thing as question mark. 3 plus I don't know equals 20. So let's practice choosing a variable and writing an equation for a story, okay? Now, I do not want you to copy this story down. I'm just going to read the story to you, and then you're going to work on it, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow. Okay, it says the public library received a donation of 1,367 books. After the first week, 398 new books were left on the shelf. How many new books were checked out in 1 week? Okay, so we have a problem here. And how can we represent the problem using a variable for the unknown? Well, we know that the total, we can also use strip diagram. So I'm going to use this paper, but I want you to use your journal to work this problem out. But I also want you to write the equation using a variable, okay? So what is the unknown here? What do I know? Well, I know the total amount of books is 1,367. I also know that the books left were 398. Those are the new books that were left on the shelf. What I do not know, and I'll call that B, is the books that were checked out. And I'm just going to list that, books checked out. Okay, so how can I write this equation? How did it read? Let's see. I think it read this way. 1,367 books minus the books that were checked out equals 398 books. And what does this B stand for? This is called the variable. It's the unknown. The B stands for books checked out. Could I have called this question mark? Yes. Could I call this X? Yes. But I'm calling it B for books. You could also write, because you know your fact family, well, you could also write, well, 398 of the new books were on the shelf. If I add what was checked out, I will get my total, which was 1,367. 1,367. Now I want you to put this in a strip diagram, okay? And you should be using your journal. And a strip diagram is just a total bar with the parts involved. So let's write this total bar. And what is my total? My total are books, and the total is 1,367 books. What is the part that is known out of 1,367? You should be drawing this. The part, or you can listen and then pause and draw. The part that is known is 398. What's the part that is not known? The part that is not known is, what variable are we using? We're using B. And what does B stand for? B stands for books checked out. And this right here is called a strip diagram. It gives you the total and it gives you the parts. You can have more than one part, and you can have more than one groups of strip diagrams in your story problems depending on how complicated they are. Okay, now I've read you this and we can solve this, but the real point is not to solve this. In order to solve this, we would take the total and get the difference between the total and what we know. And the unknown would be B. But really what we're looking for today is how to set up the problem, how to set up a variable. You will be given problems with variables in them, and you need to be used to seeing them so you can not be nervous about them and realize they're just letters that substitute for numbers that you don't know yet, but you will be able to find them out. Let's try another one. I want you to write me an equation that has a variable in it, and then I also want you to write me a strip diagram. So the equation, well, let's read it first, okay? It says, Alejandro had 327 baseball cards in his collection. He added 108 cards in a year. How many cards does he have now? Okay, so now, do we know the total? Do we have cards he has, and cards added? Which one of these do we not know? I want you to pause, and I want you to put the numbers in here, and I want you to pick a variable for the unknown. Is the unknown the total? Is what you don't know the cards he has? Or is you don't know what cards he added? Go ahead and pause right now and fill that in. Okay? You should have, the cards he has is 327. The cards he added was 108. But the cards he has now are any number or any letter you choose. So, let's see, let's call it C. I don't want you to call it, you could call it T for total, but let's just call it C, and that represents cards. Cards now. Okay. Now what I want you to do is I want you to write me an equation. And I want you to write the variable in the part, the correct part. Please go ahead and do that now. Okay? You should have written the part that you don't know is C. And the part that you do know is 327 plus 108. Okay, 327 plus 108 equals C, the cards. Now I'd like you to write me a strip diagram. Here's your total. Here's your parts. fill in the correct parts in your strip diagram. We don't necessarily have to cut the parts equal. Sometimes we can and sometimes we don't. Go ahead and put the parts. Put something here, put something here, put something here. Make that happen. Okay, you should have put that C is the unknown total, and the total goes here. Okay, and then your parts are 327 that he has, and 108 that he just added. Has and added. You combine those to get C, the total cards that he has now. All right, I want you to try one more, and we will check this tomorrow. Okay, so you're going to pick a variable. You're going to pick a variable. You're going to write an equation. Write an equation using your variable. And you're going to write a strip diagram. Using your variable too. All right, we're going to check those tomorrow. Let me read this really quickly for you. There are 769 students in the school. Of these, 259 students take the bus. How many students do not take the bus? Okay, it should look like this, only with the right numbers. Whoops. Sorry. It should have this, an equation with a variable, and a strip diagram with a variable. Have that ready for us, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. And make sure you have any questions. It's new information, so I'm sure you do. Have a good night.